Overnight, supermarket giant Woolworths suffers a loss of almost $1 billion.
Aussie travellers on high alert in Bali. New information suggests a terror attack is imminent.
The world's best big wave surfers drop in for a perfect Pacific storm.
And the Newcastle Knights make NRL history, naming 3 captains.
This is NBN News with Natasha Beyersdorf and Paul Lobb.
Good evening. Tourists are being urged to rethink trips to Indonesia after a warning from our government that terrorists are in the advanced stages of planning a new attack. Popular areas of Bali, Lombok and Jakarta all come with increased risk from returning Islamist fighters from Syria. A dangerous highway pursuit at Hamlin Terrace has led police to more than $500,000 worth of the drug ice. A motorcyclist travelling along the Pacific Highway allegedly failed to stop for police before crashing on Primrose Drive. Police arrested and then searched the 39-year-old Bateau Bay man and found more than 1 kilogram of the drug. He'll face drug charges in April.
A Liverpool Plains farmer has started an online petition urging former Independent MP Tony Windsor to return to politics ahead of the federal election. Rosemary Nankervell says MP Barnaby Joyce isn't doing enough, while the Deputy PM says he welcomes democracy in action.
Armidale Jumaric Council's proposal for a 4-council merger, which included Guyra, Uralla and Walker, has been knocked back by the New South Wales Local Government Minister Paul Toole. A spokesperson says a legal assessment of the submission found it did not constitute a proposal under the Local Government Act. However, Council can make another submission and if it meets requirements, it will be referred for examination. Armidale Mayor Herman Beyersdorf says it will resubmit the proposal and will discuss it at a meeting on Monday night.
Anti-CSG activists are claiming mining giant Santos bullied a Narrabri club into cancelling a protest forum scheduled for tomorrow. North West Alliance organised the event with Narrabri Golf Club, which Santos sponsors, but was forced to change the venue. Santos denies the claims, saying it didn't ask for the event to be cancelled or threaten to pull sponsorship. Queensland Senator Glenn Lazarus is flying in to address the meeting about a National Senate inquiry into unconventional gas mining, which he's chairing.
Chicken wing, maybe the crushing tackle, and if that doesn't work, we're prepared.
CSG mining is one of the most contentious and environmentally and socially destructive forms of gas extraction known to the developed world.
Senator Lazarus hopes to host a public hearing in Narrabri in the coming months.
The Liverpool Plains is a step closer to receiving a multi-million-dollar emergency services precinct after the development application was approved this week. It'll look after the whole region and be the new home of 3 services.
The Tamworth Business Chamber believes the city is following a statewide trend when it comes to job growth in regional areas. The comment comes after the latest Australian Bureau of Statistics figures were released yesterday, which showed the creation of new jobs is on the rise. Over the past 12 months to January this year, more than 59,000 jobs were created in regional New South Wales, which is a 5.1% increase, nearly 1% more than the Sydney metropolitan area for the same period.
Coming up, another mass shooting in the US. A man goes on a killing spree at his Kansas workplace. A disgruntled worker has gone on a shooting rampage in Kansas, killing 3 workmates and injuring 15 others. Police say the gunman, a 38-year-old man who may have been recently sacked, picked his targets at random.
Ahead in the news, football's scandal-plagued ruling body voting for a new boss.
And Premier Baird backs another medicinal cannabis trial.
The BBC failed to stop decades of sexual abuse by Jimmy Savile because of a culture of fear, an inquiry has found. The report claims staff were reluctant to speak to managers about complaints.
Celebrities were treated with kid gloves and were virtually untouchable. One witness told me that the talent were more valuable to the BBC than their own values.
Saville abused 72 victims at the network between the 1960s and 1980s, but died in 2011 without ever facing charges.
It's been a difficult year for the World Game, and tonight 5 candidates are vying to replace Sepp Blatter as the head of FIFA. The former president stood down amid a corruption scandal, and now it's just hours until delegates vote in his successor. Of the 5 candidates, the frontrunners are Europe's Gianni Infantino and Asia's Sheikh Salman.
A cannabis capsule could provide desperately needed relief for chemotherapy patients who suffer nausea and vomiting. The Baird government today announced a clinical trial for those who haven't responded well to traditional treatment.
To finance, and the share market has finished flat amid weakness in the resources sector. BHP Billiton lost 41 cents, while gold miner Newcrest gained 66. The big banks were mixed. ANZ closed slightly higher and NAB dropped 14 cents, while Woolworths shares picked up after losing ground earlier during trading. One Australian dollar is buying 72 US cents and 81 yen.
Well, now to Gavin Morris for a quick look at the weather. And Gav, how's the start of the weekend looking?
Well, it should be a lot cooler along the coast than what we've experienced over the last few days. Still very warm inland. We should see a bit of a drop in temperatures as well. But this weekend, we're going to have a very large, dangerous swell. Let's just go to the charts and we'll see what's happening. We've got 2 swells gelling here. We've got that monster swell from ex-tropical cyclone Winston in the north, and we've got the new southerly swell that's been linking up with that. So there's going to be a lot of water moving around up and down the coast. So some pretty dangerous rips and currents, etc., for people wanting to hit the beaches. There'll probably be numerous ones closed. We've got some pretty big tides, so we're going to see coastal erosion as well. But I'll take a closer look at the showers and the windier conditions for the coast that are expected over the next couple of days soon.
Thanks, Gav. Coming up, a 50-metre trail of asbestos-laden material dumped near homes.
And in sport, Anthony Watmoe dismisses retirement talk despite a chronic knee injury.
Sydney Council has released security video of asbestos being illegally dumped on a suburban road, hoping it'll lead to the culprits being found. The Mayor of Parramatta wants those responsible paraded in court, and residents are just as fed up. Coming up later in the bulletin, Hawaii 5-0, the world's best to tackle 50-foot monsters.
And we're live from the ninth season launch with 3 men named to succeed skipper Kurt Gidley.
They say 2 heads are better than 1, but it seems the Newcastle Knights are going 1 better when it comes to their captains. The club is tonight launching its 2016 NRL season in Newcastle. Samuel Jordan joins us live from the launch, and Sam, they've named 3 new skippers.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. Jeremy Smith, Tariq Sims and Trent Hodkinson have all been given the nod by coach Nathan Brown in a move never before seen in the NRL. No team has ever had 3 co-captains. Now, it's not exactly come as a surprise. It had been rumoured to be the case, and Brown did have joint captains while coaching the Dragons. But for Smith, the club's oldest player, Tariq Sims, who only joined last season, and Hodkinson, who only joined in the pre-season, it has come as a surprise.
Thank you, Sam. After a troubled Rugby World Cup last year, Israel Folau is back to his fearsome best. The Waratahs flyer endured an injury-ravaged 2015 and is looking to take out his frustration on Queensland in tomorrow night's season opener.
Australia's Nick Kyrgios will face Stan Wawrinka for the first time since their infamous on-court blow-up last year. The 20-year-old secured his spot in the semi-finals at the Dubai Tennis Championships with a 2-set victory over world number 7 Thomas Berdych. It was Kyrgios's 8th straight win.
Coming up, big names and big scores despite a blown-out conditions at Newcastle's Surf Fest. Praise for Jared Hayne from the new San Francisco 49ers coach, Chip Kelly, who's revealed he's excited to work with the former league star.
Former Tamworth junior basketballer Carly Bogue has impressed in her Women's National Basketball League debut season, winning the Sydney Uni Flames Most Improved Player. In the final 8 rounds of competition, her minutes on court improved to more than 20 per game. Increased playing time resulted in Bogue averaging 7 rebounds per game in the last 7 matches and scoring 40 points across the final 5 games. Coaches were impressed with her ability to cover forward and centre, with the 24-year-old expected to push for a starting position next year.
In a bid to get the edge for this year's Greater Northern Rugby League Championships, Group 4 will tackle Newcastle's runners-up from the last season in a trial tomorrow. The match, to be played in Tamworth, is the first chance for players to impress coaches.
The road to New South Wales selection begins in Sydney this weekend for a pair of Tamworth gymnasts. Caitlin Ham and Georgia Pryor hope time spent in the United States will have them better prepared than their rivals.
Gav has the weather next. Time to see how long this heat's going to last with Gav.
Thanks, Paul. Wow, what a scorcher today. As expected, we hit the low 40s across large amounts of the region, from the northwest over to the plains, and cracking the 30s over the tablelands. Some relief moving through, but it's still going to be quite hot tomorrow. First of all, Eddie Grood caught just about every sunset colour possible in this one, looking west from beautiful Jimmy's Beach just near Hawk's Nest. A spectacular photo. The past 24-hour rainfall coming down hard and fast over the red centre. The Alice getting a nice little drink at the moment. Scattered storms still right across the top end. Still very dry over the majority of New South Wales, and that includes us. It has been bone dusty dry yet again. That little change just revealing itself. A little bit of cloud they're trying to push on through as the southerly moved in across the region during today. Brought in a lot of humidity, most of that captured on the west or eastern side of the divide and throughout the Hunter, so nothing much over the western side as far as moisture content is concerned. You can see ex-tropical cyclone Winston deteriorating now, tropical low, but still spiralling around there in the Coral and Tasman. Scattered storms over the top end again throughout today. In the west, well, more heat has been moving in because the old horseshoe trough has moved into place. Now, tomorrow, onshore winds, they're going to be very gusty on the eastern side of the divide, and that's where it's going to be wet. You've got a huge, monstrous swell that is running along the east coast, thanks to ex-tropical cyclone Winston. Inland, that trough line's drawing in a little bit of cloud cover and a little bit of moisture. We may have some showers there move in across the region, but all of it's going to be very light on. Sydney getting a nice little burst overnight and early tomorrow morning. Brisbane's going to be very hot. The Alice is still up there, much cooler throughout the southeast. And there's the heat returning to Perth again. They've had numerous heat waves this summer. It has been absolutely brutal in the Golden West, and they've got another one on their hands. In for a local look at temperatures, we hit 40. Tamworth to Barraba, 42 at Gunnedah was recorded today. The low to mid-30s, that's hot for the tablelands. Armidale, 34. Guyra, 32. Glen Innes was 34 also. And Inverell almost got to 40 degrees, also feeling the pinch. And the low 40s were cracked right across the plains, from Narrabri out to Wee War, out to Moree, Graves, and out to Mungandai. All those northern locations were excruciatingly hot throughout today, and the humidity, there wasn't much there at all. The pressure is falling slightly, and there's the southerly moving in and gusty at times as we move into this evening. Tomorrow's forecast rain, it is going to try to rain. We're going to have some little bits pushing through. We may see some storms around the mountain areas and off to the north, but all of that shower activity overall for us is going to be very much on the light side, except for the potential of a little bit of storm activity off to the north. Look at the heat. It's still there despite these southerlies. The southerlies have been coming through this year, but they just haven't been very cold at all. 2 reasons. One, it's very, very warm off the coast over the sea surface temperatures around the East Australian current, and of course it's travelling over what is a very hot land mass at the moment. So we've still got the mercury headed in the mid to high 30s across the northwest. The risk of a shower, small part partly cloudy skies, so a little more comfort is on the way throughout tomorrow, with the mid-20s expected across New England and the tablelands for tomorrow. Sun's up at about 6:38 and down at approximately 7:30. You've got that moon a little bit still left over, but it's completely waning away now as we move towards the new week, which should be dry and hot again. It's going to be fine and mostly sunny there as we move into the middle latter part of next week for Tamworth. For Armidale, some showers lingering, may get one or two, capturing a little shower, brief one here and there on Sunday, but most of it drying out across the weekend and dry next week, also warming up somewhat. We'll be back to 30 by the middle of end of next week. Moree Plains, a little bit of relief over the coming days, particularly Sunday, Monday and into the early part of next week, but then from Thursday, Friday it's going to be quite hot. Boating, south-southeasterly winds, good for boating on inland waterways, dangerous conditions on the coast. It's not going to be pretty at all over the mountains if you're holidaying. It is going to be wet, windy with monstrous seas. The dams in the Hunter still in good shape. Chaffee slipping away. Keep it's down to 11 at the moment. Split Rock at just 6%. Copton is at 17. Pindari has taken a little bit of a fall there as well, dropping down to 40%. But at any time, if you'd like to capture or catch up on any of your local stories, you can log on to our website.
Thanks, Gav. Finally tonight, hurricane-force winds have produced incredible waves on Hawaii's North Shore for the famed Eddie Aikau Invitational.
Just plain scary.
Yeah, cowabunga for sure.
Spirit of Eddie lives on.
That is the latest news.
Have a great weekend.
Good night.
Good night.